Hey, how's this looking? A little better? You guys hear me this time? Nice! New PC! I had to completely rebuild my audio profile scene. And of course I didn't have it. I wasn't smart enough in OBS to make it one scene for audio that I can put on everything. So I had to kill them all off. So, yeah. That was 15 minutes of me screwing around in OBS. Let's, since we're here, make it better. Because now my audio probably sounds like crap. So let's see if I can do this without turning off my camera. And edit my mic setup. Luckily I was smart enough to save my presets. Let's see here. Let's get set up. So all that time I spent, getting set up during the countdown is now shot. So we'll start over. How you guys doing? Welcome to Geared. We got a bunch of stuff because I haven't streamed in I think 3 weeks. So we're gonna do a few things, a few different things, a little bit different format than normal. But first, OBS. We're gonna fix OBS real quick. What are you guys up to? How are you folks out there in YouTube land? Also, I'm just setting the audio back up. I completely had to blast my mic due to the fact I just rebuilt my PC. Let me know if it's too loud, too quiet, if you want me to adjust it either way. Let's see here. Let's get rid of that. Do this. Pop out the chat so I can see you guys better. Do that. Sounds good. Cool. Excuse me. That needs beer. Oh, Shane always goes, still not sponsored by Pepsi. If there's anybody I want to sponsor me, it's these guys. God. It's good beer. It's good beer. Mac and Jack's is fantastic. They just started putting it in cans. So great. Okay, anyway, let me check. Luckily, I took a snapshot of my compressor settings before I blasted, before I blasted the mic. So in OBS, we're going to add some filters. You guys want to see me mess with OBS? We can do that. Let's do... Why not? We can talk about anything on Geared. That's why I named the channel Geared. Call it whatever we want. Let's do this. Let's get a studio mode. Now you can hear me, can't you? So let's go back to studio mode. Go back to my mic setup. Hopefully that still works. I'm getting levels down here, as you can see right there. So yeah, we are going to do Fusion today. We're going to do some other cool stuff. Got a little surprise to show everyone. But first, let's fix Fusion. No, I mean OBS. So condenser mic. Filters, we want to add compressor. Where is it? Compressor right there. Looks good. I brought my ratios down to like 5:1. Works good. dB was 18. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. I think it was pretty much just the ratio I brought down. Does that make a difference? Does that sound a little better? Maybe? Oh, and then we got to do also filters and noise suppression, high quality. So cool thing, RNN noise is OBS Studio's version of RTX voice, because I don't have an NVIDIA card. I don't have NVIDIA anything right now, which makes me sad because I like NVIDIA. But you can't, well, I tried after getting my new Radeon card to do the little backdoor install of RTX voice, but it wasn't happening. So hopefully that's okay. I think we're just going to go with that. I could mess with audio settings for days, of course, but I'm not going to bother you guys with it. Hopefully it's a reasonable sound. Let's get rid of that. What else we got down here? All right, so anyway, we have audio. But I probably need to make sure my other scenes have audio real quick. That one obviously has it. That one has it, that one has it. Oh, what's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? I shouldn't say that anymore, should I? Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Let's see here. So we want to add scene that is mic setup. Also here, we want mic setup. Smash the like button. Yes. Hey, Dan, how's it going, buddy? We're just fixing my OBS Studio after having no audio for the first 15 minutes of that first stream that was garbage. We'll pretend like that never happened. All right, so there's that. Does everything else look okay? All right, cool. We're going to call that good. Let's get this out of the way. Go back to this and this. It's almost like I've done this before, only a couple times. Anyway, there we go. We have sound. We're set up. So today, we're going to do a couple different things. First thing I want to do is find a way to make that thing stay on, because I like having my logo in the background. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with a couple points in Fusion 360 that I wanted to talk about. A couple little kind of like quick tips, only we may have to go into a little more depth on one or two of them. I'm going to kind of steal Lars Christensen's format. So I'm going to just kind of start with that. I'm going to kind of go through this as if it were a tutorial. Kind of watching you guys' questions as you have them. Hey, Jim, how's it going? What my plan with that is to, after the stream, come back, cut those couple pieces up and upload them as individual videos. So that being said, if I sound like I'm doing a couple takes every once in a while, it's because I am. Because I'm going to try to get it to the point where I have enough audio and video from this stream to be able to put out a couple little videos over those two different little segments I want to do. So feel free to laugh at me all you want, but I might do a couple pauses and takes just to make things sound a little bit better, because I hate doing voiceover. I'd rather just get it right. So yeah, that's kind of the plan. And then after that, we got some show and tell. We'll open up that box back there. Yeah, so let's just jump into Fusion. What I want to do today for the first part in Fusion is talk about creating some geometry for 3D printing. It's kind of what we're all here to do for the most part. One of the things I've been wanting to show everyone how to do is how to better create holes. I know that sounds weird. 3D printed holes that don't require supports. So a hole that is not sitting on the build plate, but has a smaller diameter than what's the surface around it. And I'll show some examples here. I want to show you how to make those better. And actually, I'm going to jump into Idea Maker here. So let me get that set up with a model that I want to show off real quick. And then I'll show you the 3 different ways that we can do this to make stuff work, make stuff printable without having to use supports. Whenever I'm designing something, I don't want to use supports, or as little as possible. Although, Idea Maker supports come off real easy. So let me find that model. Here we go. Okay, so jumping over. Hopefully my audio is still good. Looks like I've got levels. So this is just a basic little model that has 3 holes in it. All these holes from the bottom side are, this would be like something that would be in a captive nut. So the hole for the captive nut is on the bottom, but then the smaller hole that the actual bolt goes through is raised off the build platform. So you'd normally have to put supports in there, but we don't necessarily have to. So what I'm going to do is slice this, show you the preview of it, of a couple different ways to keep that from happening, and then I'm going to show you how to do it in Fusion. So as we go down, this is the layer where the slicer starts to draw these holes in midair. And this first one right here, this is the one that's going to fail. Because when you get to that layer, usually it's going to do the perimeters first. And even if it doesn't, it's going to do this bridging first, and it's just going to just fall. There's nothing there to hold it up, especially if you do the perimeters first. And that's how I do stuff. Because of that, this one's just going to completely fail. The next example, and the easiest way to do it, is to do what a lot of people do is use sacrificial layers, where you do one single layer of just bridging. So it'll do the bridges, and then it'll just build the hole on top of that. And so that one's a pretty easy one to do. You just create a single layer. I'll show you how to do that, of course. And then the more complex one, and the one, of course, I like, is where you actually make a couple straight lines to bridge and then create the hole. And then at that point, the only thing it's really doing is drawing a little circle right here. And for the most part, that's going to work. That will work up to a certain size. Like if you go with too big of a hole, there's no way that's going to work. At some point, you just have to use the sacrificial layer. I have found that this method works up to about M5, maybe M6 if you're really good. It's probably not going to work with PETG because it's so sticky. Once you get to a really, really monstrous hole, your best bet's just use sacrificial layers or just use supports. But anyway, I'm going to show you how to do those two. So let's jump over to Fusion. What's chat saying? No, Dan's here. Everybody can stay and hang out with Dan and me and Jim and Ryan and Fuga. Shane's here too. Let's see here. So Fusion. So let's just build these. We don't need that. Let's do a new component. Don't care what it's called. Do a new sketch. Rectangle, R for rectangle. Let's something I think I may glaze over when I'm doing this stuff is, so when I hit R for rectangle, you get your standard whatever rectangle. But you can also, it gives you the other options for rectangles once you've hit that. Same with the circle. It defaults to a center circle, but you get the other circles up here in the corner. You see that, right? Yeah. Just a little tip. When you're jumping around, a lot of people, you know, if they want to find one of the different circles or rectangles, they go up here and they go find the rectangle and they pick it. And you don't have to do that. Just hit R and then pick your center rectangle. So 50, 50, good enough. Extrude, E for extrude, we're going to do 10. Doesn't really matter. Then we're going to do another sketch. I am not going to worry about doing, well, I guess I can. I'll just do a quick, I'm not going to worry about the sizes here. Just know that if you go too big with some of these methods, it's not going to work. Do polygon and a circle. We're going to go bigger than that, actually. So we need it to actually make it look a little bit proportional. That looks about like the right proportions. We're ignoring dimensions for sure here. So let's extrude this all the way through. Turn our sketch back on. And extrude that up. Just doesn't really matter. 4 millimeters is fine. Cool. Okay. So this is where you can start making decisions on how you want to make this printable. The quickest and easiest way to do it, we'll show you that one first, is just create another sketch here on the surface that's going to have the bridging. Highlight that center circle, extrude up 0.2 millimeters. Excuse me. We want to extrude up, not down. Right click, edit feature, negative 0.2. So that just creates a little bridge inside there. Don't know why it's not. Sometimes Fusion is weird. I'm not sure why it's giving me a circle there. It's no distance. If I delete it, what happens? Huh. Fusion's being weird. I'm not going to worry about it. Point is that 0.2 millimeter layer is all you need to get that sacrificial layer in there, because 0.2 is pretty much what the average layer that we're printing at. And even if you're printing at, you know, 0.15, 0.16, 0.2, 0.24, 0.25, whatever you like, it's still going to print it. Unless the layer height of what you're printing at is drastically different from that 0.2, it's still going to pick that up and create a layer at whatever layer height you're printing. Just export it, and you will end up with this guy in the middle, just that single layer right there. So from the bottom of the model, it doesn't look like there's a hole, but it's just doing that single layer. So that's the easy way, which works really well, especially on bigger holes. You can either just take a knife to it, cut it out, or just run a drill bit through it, and you're good. Now let's back up here. So the way I like to do it, though, because it's fancier, is to actually do a couple different extrudes on a couple different sketches. You could technically do this in one sketch, but I like doing it in two because it helps you get the order right, because you have to extrude the sides and then the center up at two different levels. So instead of just doing a single sacrificial 0.2 millimeter layer, you're going to extrude 0.2 and then 0.2 again. So what we want to do here is create a sketch. And the first thing we're going to do is a couple parallel lines. So L for line, a couple parallel lines. And what you want to do is you want to make these tangent. So grab your tangent tool, grab the line, grab the circle, puts it right up against it. Do that with both of them. The direction of which you do these does not matter. At this point, we're going to extrude the middle section. And that's because when this starts to draw the lines, I'm going to extrude at -2. When this starts to draw this now, the first thing it's going to do is get to these two sections here, and the edge, excuse me, the perimeter is going to be along this line. So it's just a straight bridge. It's going to be able to bridge all the way across that for both of those. And then the next layer up, it's going to be the exact same thing. So create a sketch. We'll need to hit P to pull this in, so we get both sides of that. And then we do the exact same thing, just another line on each side of it that are parallel. And then we make those tangent again to the circle. Then we extrude these four corners with another -2 millimeters. So there you go. So once it does this first layer with these bridges, it then comes in and does these two layers with the bridges. Still hasn't drawn any circles. And by the time it gets to the next layer, when it does have to draw these circles, that circular bridge is so small, it does it just fine. In that very first part of the circle, that little perimeter may not be 100% perfect. You may have to still cut out a tiny little bit of plastic that hangs down, but that also depends on how big your bolt hole is. But for the most part, it doesn't matter much. You're giving up, 0.4 millimeters of distance. So if you're dealing with really, really, really tiny stuff, you kind of got to watch out for that. Typically, though, it's not too big of a deal. You get a lot of surface area. And it's plastic, so when you tighten it down, you're going to kind of squish into it anyway. But in the end, that's all you have to do. And that does not require any supports when you print it. So if we jump back over to Idea Maker, that's what causes this. So if we jump down, so there's our captive nut. We go up. The first thing it does is these bridges, and then it bridges in between it. No problem. Next one is a square, which is just a couple more bridges, and then it can finally make that circle. And that's it. That's all there is to it. But this way it just works. It works really well. If you go look at like the most of Prusa's models now use this exact method, and I did not learn it from them. The next thing I'm going to show you, I did learn from the folks at Prusa. I noticed this one. I wonder if Joe Kasha did a video or something on this a while back, a long time ago. He might have done Sacrificial Layers, I forget. But I noticed the first place I saw this getting used, this method getting used, was in Greg Saulnier's models on the Bear model. It just works really, really well. So anyway, that's the first thing I wanted to go over. Actually, didn't take too long. What was the other thing I was going to go over? Okay, yeah, the other thing I was going to go over, and I've kind of alluded to this on the Discord a little bit, on Shane's Discord, was ways to make your model really strong. So we can jump back over here. So, this model itself, it's small, but if you were to pretend... Angus talked about that? Oh, he the sacrificial layers. Yeah. I've seen a few folks talk about sacrificial layers for sure. So, but anyway, let's do a new model. Don't save. So anyway, for this one, what I want to talk about here is how to make your models stronger. And it's actually going to be really somewhat counterintuitive, because the way we're going to make our models stronger is by adding negative space. We're going to actually add holes to our model, so it draws more perimeters and actually adds more mass to a model. This is how Prusa makes the ends of their the frame part on the Prusa Mini so strong and so beefy. So when you just make a rectangle, actually let's just make a big block. Let's make something really big here. 100 by 50. And we're going to extrude that 50. So if we were to print this, even if we added like, you know, normal print settings, which are pretty strong, if we did like, you know, four layers, top, bottom, 4 perimeters, I mean, that's going to be a lot of mass, but you then have to start building up your infill if you really want to get a ton of mass in there. And infill, you may not want to put infill across the whole thing. For instance, back to this model over here, I mean, you know, it starts building up stuff around around these edges of this captive nut hole. And that's actually a pretty strong part right there, but then it's just got a whole bunch of just, what, I think it's like 20% infill. And while that's strong, it's not as strong as it could be. To do that, though, we actually want to add negative space. So I'm going to create a sketch here. Now, you wouldn't normally, what I'm going to do here, you wouldn't normally want to do for the entire model because it's going to make just tons of plastic. You want to find the spot that maybe is long and skinny that you need to add a little extra girth to, or add a little extra meat to just keep it from flexing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of zoom in here, and I'm going to make a few rectangles just to kind of get going. But we are going to shrink these down considerably. I probably could have done that way more efficiently than that, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to dimension these, and I'm going to make these 0.1. Just a tiny little bit of space there. And then I'm also going to dimension them, let's see, probably, see, a typical wall is about 0.45 to 0.48. We're going to usually do at least 2 or 3 walls. So let's just make them 1 millimeter apart for now. We'll see what it looks like when we slice it. And I'm not going to do this all the way across the model. This is going to be, plus if I slice it with only a few of these in here, you're going to be able to see the difference. Let's make these all. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Perpendicular. Come on. Helps if you grab the right thing. Do same on the bottom because we got to be OCD. Oh, those lined up. Cool. All right, so then we're going to extrude these tiny little holes. We're not going to go all the way through, though. So we are going to start from an offset of -2. And we're going to go 100, but we're not. We're going to go 98. -98. Just going to put those tiny little slices down through the model. We're going to hit OK. That did not take. Offset -2. Is that where we want it? And then math is hard, -96. That makes more sense. Okay, cool. What do we got? There we go. So now from the outside, nothing's changed. But let's slice this. Back here, close this out, get rid of that guy. Bring in a new model. Let's demo. Nice and big. Just a block, but when we slice it, We go to preview it now. We should have a big fat chunk of plastic right in the middle of it. Yeah, exactly. So even though these lines were 0.1, and you may or may not get a gap in there, your slicer is going to, and melting plastic is going to pretty much fill it in. So this particular part, you know, it's just going to be rock solid wherever that piece is right down the middle of it. And if I did that all the way across, it would have made it just a big fat chunk of plastic. I think this is a way more efficient way than upping your infill to 100% or doing a million perimeters, just because you can be a little more selective on where you're putting this. A rectangular pattern would have been another way to do that. Yes, I see what you're saying. Yeah, for drawing the sketch boiler. Yeah, absolutely. That was lazy fusion for sure. If you were doing a whole bunch of these and to get them exactly where you wanted them, like if you wanted to take that all the way across, yeah, I would have totally just done a pattern across. I was just doing this for the sake of showing you what the effect of it on your model is going to be. But you're absolutely right. But anyway, those are kind of the two little tricks I wanted to show in tonight's stream. I actually just learned this one just, I don't know, a couple months ago. It was when I was actually building a Prusa Mini. I was going through and looking at the models when I was slicing them. I thought, man, there's a lot of meat in there. How'd they do that? And I realized what they were doing when you really dug into it. Yeah, it just forces it's a trick. It tricks the slicer a little bit, but it's a cool way to allow, like, the slicers have variable infill. You can set different infills at different heights, of course, but if you really want to dial it in exactly where you want it, I feel like it's easier to do it in the model and really just, okay, I want a strip of plastic right through the middle of it in this one spot. Sometimes that's all you need. And to do something like that in the slicer would have been a lot more work, if it was even possible. Hey, you, Ryan, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have failed prints. No, never. Never do I have failed prints. Okay, maybe. Let's see. Everybody is quiet. I'm going up the chat here. What do we got? But yeah, cool. That's what I was going to show you. Let's see. Some slicers have been modified. Yeah, and that's a really good point, Boiler. A lot of slicers do have that. Yeah, like in Prusa Slicer, you can take a modifier, and you can do it in Idea Maker too. You can put a box inside it, and then within that modifier you can set a million more layers, or you can put nothing in there. You can make it an empty space if you really wanted to cut down on what you were doing. You're doing the same thing, but when you do it in Fusion or any other CAD program for that matter, you get all the tools of the software. But you're absolutely right. You could do a lot of that with modifiers for sure. Like you could stick a modifier all the way through the middle of the model and just up the perimeters on just that particular modifier to a infinite 9999 whatever, and it'll just make it solid. So yeah, another really good point. You thought it was gonna be Jello wrestling? But yeah, you're actually right, Ryan. It was because I had a failed print, and when I was printing the frame parts for that Prusa Mini clone, I don't even remember why it failed. Was that because that might have been Clipper? Was that one of the times Clipper just stopped because of because I needed to update my firmware? I don't remember, but for some reason it stopped right there. Anyway, let's see what else we're gonna do. I guess we could open the box, see what's in the box. Let's see how's the light in here for this though. Let's switch over to this camera. It's not as good a quality. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Let's see. We'll try this out. This will be new. Get a knife. All right. So, can you guys still hear me okay? Over here? So this particular package came from Mr. Shane Fuga. Some of you might know what it is. What it's going to be, the project we're going to work on, probably going to be a few months. But this is going to probably be the next design project for the channel. Let's see what we've got. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Parts, lots. Let's. Oh, we can just show you this right here. People will know exactly what it is. We've got ourselves here Mingda D2, the infamous Mingda D2 that Mr. Shane Fuga had trouble with because of this part right here. Doesn't come off. It doesn't. They unplug the gantry. I don't feel like taking the base out because it's huge. Dude, this thing did fall apart on you, man. It's garbage. This hot end is crap. Wow. Like the fans. Jeez. They don't even let you take the cords off? Oh yeah, they do. Maybe. So anyway, let's see here. Can you see it? So this it's actually really in there. She did a great job packing it up. This is a sort of broken, not so great. Might probably work. Mingda D2. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. And Ryan, you're exactly right. That is going to be the switch wire. Let's try this real quick. Got one other. Let's do this. Let's go back here. We're going to try one other thing to show you guys. I didn't realize, because I hadn't opened it yet, that the let's see, that the gantry on that thing is completely wired. There's no way to unplug the gantry from the base. So let's see if this works. Nope, wrong one. Hey, it is working. Cool. So phones, by the way, make amazing cameras. So we've got the awesome Mingda D2. But here's the biggest problem that Shane had with it. First of all, this particular hot end is just garbage. It's this tiny little heat sink here that makes no sense. Uh-oh. Nope, never mind, still working. Sorry about that. Sorry, guys. Thought I lost video here. My app just stopped giving me info. Anyway, yeah, this thing's crap. If you look at the I don't know if this broke in shipping or if this is just how bad it actually is. But we don't care. We're not going to use that. We're going to put an afterburner on it. And then this part, let me fix this thing. I don't know why. There we go. Hey. So I'm using a old phone as a camera here. I don't have any cameras because if you'll notice that you can get my hand in here, right there. Only halfway there. What else we got in this thing? So it's got wheels. That's super awesome. Those are going away. Oh, look at that. An LED works. So anyway, what the plan is here? We're going to do a whole bunch of measuring. We're going to have to change around how the switch wire works, because the way the belts are driven on that are from the front. So obviously we may have to adjust the way this mounts to the frame. I don't know if you can see it down in there. There's a couple holes down there that the frame actually mounts to. I'm concerned those might be in the wrong place for this. But we got the guts of a switch wire. All right. Sorry for the shaky cam. First time ever trying that. Okay. Anyway, yeah, building the switch wire. Building the switch wire. Let's back up real quick. So yeah, thank you. Big thanks to Shane. You hooked it up. He wanted it out of his workshop, so we shipped it to me. I'm going to rebuild it. So anyway, that was a little chaotic, but whatever. Trying new stuff here. Yeah, what we're gonna, the first thing we're gonna have to do on that is get it all unpacked and get a whole bunch of measurements done on it. Gonna have to measure up everything because I cannot for the life of me find a model of a pre-built model of a Ming D2 anywhere. If you guys know of one, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to be doing a whole lot of measuring. For the most part, that's not going to be too hard because, like the gantry and the X rails and all that type of stuff are real easy to measure because they're just 2020 and 2040. But the case at the bottom, which I'm actually kind of excited about, it's got a nice big beefy base. I think it's going to make for just a nice solid base and a lot of room for electronics, room for activities. Yeah, no, I totally got here in one piece, Shane. It looks good. Nice job packing it. Thank you again. Super cool. It's going to be a fun project for the channel. I'm going to be able to use some of the Ender 3 switchwire parts. It's gonna have to be some custom work because a lot of those parts will fit on the front. The thing that I am concerned about is the placement of the gantry of the X gantry front to back. This thing tucks pretty well up against that gantry, which means the nozzle is going to be closer to the gantry, I guess. The switch wire is going to move things out, so it's going to move that nozzle point forward. So the gantry itself, I'm thinking, is going to have to get moved back. We'll see. I like the base though. I really do. I want to use that. I like how it's a nice solid base. The screen's going to get trashed. We're not going to use that. I think it's got that touch screen. I don't see that working with this thing at all. Not going to use... I don't even think we'll be using the... Well, I don't think we'll be using hardly any electronics other than the motors. Because it's going to be... Let's see, how many... Switchwire... Ryan, how many motors does switchwire take? I do like the base. I like the base. Is it just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4? What am I missing in my brain? 2 on the X, or I guess X, Z, 1 for Y, 1 for the extruder. I don't know if we're going to do dual extrusion on this one. We might. I might go direct drive on it. But we'll see. Don't know. Just don't know. But yeah, getting everything mounted up on the frame is going to be the hard part. 3. We're not using an extruder on this one. I'm just kind of thinking out loud on which there you go. Trying to decide which motherboard to use in it. So what I'm just thinking about what I've got sitting around. I've got the 1.4 turbo. It's probably going to go in Devastator. I've got a FiSet CF6 that's currently in the record that I was going to put in Mirage, the Voron Legacy. Because that one I want to do dual extrusion on that one. So I don't know if I want to do dual extrusion on the switch wire. That can be like the last thing we figure out, though. Maybe I'll have to pick up a new controller. Actually, probably will, because I'm building Devastator right now. Got a box full of parts for this. These things are turning out good. In actual fact, I wonder. Oh, got an hour and 4 minutes left on one of the big pieces of Devastator. Parts are turning out really good, though. Got the screen. This purple looks awesome in person. This is the Paramount Transformer Decepticon purple. It's cool. It's nice looking. I don't know if the light can pick it up or not. It comes across a little brown on camera, but it's not. It's a really nice color. And then this Ziro ZIRO green is just awesome. Which Amazon's now sold out of it, so can't get more of that yet. But I've got the got this piece on the Voron right now, printing out the big piece of the enclosure. So this one's probably going to get the 1.4 turbo. So yeah, I guess I'll probably be looking for figuring out which board I'm going to get to run the switch wire. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe the board in there will work. Do we know what kind of... I don't feel like pulling all the way out of the box, so it's massive. I don't want to pack it back up because I'm not going to do anything with it for a little bit. Do we know what board that comes with? Because I don't. Let's see. What do we got? What is that thing? The D2 mainboard. Does anybody know what the heck that is? Because I don't. Do you have an extra INC? You can keep the INC. No thanks. But yeah. Let's see, what time is it? How long have we been streaming now? Not that long. She's not even an hour. Busted through the fusion stuff quick. What's in the box? Give. Oh, yeah, totally, dude. Let's see, what else? What did I miss on stream? What did I miss on stream? It's an STM32. Well, if it's an STM32, if we can figure out the pinout, it might be worthwhile. 4 drivers for a single lead. Might work. Obviously, we're going to put clipper on it for sure. Yeah. Oh, never mind. 2208s. It's gonna have sensorless homing. You, like I said before, peasants. End stops are for peasants. I'm gonna be crowny on that one. that's kind of all I had for tonight. I feel like there was something else maybe I was going to talk about, but now I've forgotten about it. What do you guys got going on? I think, let's see. Trying to think what I was actually working on. Oh, I know. Oh, I know what I was working on. We haven't looked at the, now I remember. I planned so well. I've had a ridiculously crazy 2 weeks of work. Deltas, huh? You want to go there? Deltas. Waste of space. Yeah, Ryan's building grapple. Hopefully it works out for him. His is looking nice. Let's see, mini ITX case. I have done a little work off stream on the mini ITX case. I got the mounting plate built. I just basically cut the Decepticon logo out of it just to give it some, because we didn't need all that space. I got the back panel joined in, so that's all in there. What we do still need, what? Yeah, I know, right? I couldn't wait. I need to get this thing up. I need to get this thing up and running. I need to get it printed out because I actually need to use it now. I don't have a big printer sitting right here. Got it out in the garage all racked up. I need to get this thing out there so I can, I'm going to put this up there on the shelf. I'm going to put a monitor up in the middle of the rack so I can see what's going on. Switch around and actually work on, that's kind of the downfall of Clipper is like, I've been going out there, like if you want to do like, you know, a probe calibration, got to take a tablet out there, then I got to do the, you know, type in all the stuff on the tablet to send the test Z values and all that stuff. And it's kind of a pain in the butt. Oh, I'll show you what I did. I'll feed you, baby bird. So I did a couple things. Obviously, I just cut the Decepticon logo out of this, which was as simple as bringing in a canvas. Not that canvas, what the heck? Where did that go? Huh. Where's my canvas? No. Here? No. But that's sure weird. Yeah, you can't see my screen. How much of that crap was I not showing you? Most of it. There we go. Thank you, dude. Sorry about that. There we go. So got the Decepticon logo in there, got the case split, and got the back panel done. Sorry, dude, I didn't even realize I was not, you had to stare at my ugly mug while I was doing stuff in Fusion. I'm trying to find the canvas I put in here. There's the original canvas for building stuff. Thanks, dude. But I don't know what I did. I did this like an hour ago, a couple hours ago. I had I brought in a canvas. Oh, I wonder if it's in the sketch. No. Shoot, I can't even find the sketch. It's right there. Boy, Fusion did some weird stuff, because what I had done is brought in a Decepticon logo canvas, just put it on this face, and then just traced it out and did an extrude on it. And it should have been there. That's really weird. Don't really know what happened there. Turn that off though. But I need to work on the top plate. Oh, and what I did for the, I split the two halves. So I split the two halves, then just kind of added a little extra nugget on the end there, and just kind of gave it some angles. That way, when you fit it together, it it has to line up. And I just put like a 0.1 millimeter gap in there to make room for the glue and the expansion and plastic that is never 100% perfect. That way I can print these in halves and print them on this face and this face. Let's see. But yeah, need to put a hole right here for the barrel connector for the power plug, which is out in the garage because I cleaned, sort of. And I don't remember what size it is, but we can punch it through. Actually, let's just make it and we'll just pretend we know what it is. Cage. Quick sketch here. Actually, let's do it from the inside so we know how much meat we have. Go here. Come on, give me the... What is going on there? There we go. Create sketch. Let's just do a line from there to there. X to make it a construction line. C for circle, right in the middle. It's probably about 6 millimeters. And then, let's see, what's that? That's 7 3/4. Let's make this from here to here. Let's just make it 12. 12 is a nice sounding number. Let's punch that out. That'll be the power plug. I'm sure that number's wrong because I don't, it might be bigger than that. What's the name of the little drone on Soundwave? Oh, the little drone on Soundwave is Laserbeak. Faux show. So let's put our fan back in here. So one thing I gotta figure out is where to put the fan. I want to get it sunk down in here as much as I can. And I actually already did the math on that over here. It can sit, this is just a mock-up I did before one of the streams a month or two back. Obviously not the final shape. But what I did do is figure out how high up this fan could sit off of this plate or relative to the top of the cage. So, what's this? Okay. Anyway, we're going to inspect this plane and this plane to see that they are 2.65 millimeters. We're going to call that 3. So, how do we do that? Centering things is often one of the hardest things to do in Fusion. And there's a good example of something else we do. So, when you pull in, so this is just a linked model. I don't know if it's actually has any joints in the main model, probably not. But what you can do, which is nice to do, because usually when you're bringing in a linked model, it's not a bad idea, Ryan. You're typically not going to be moving the parts of that linked model around. I like to just right-click on it and say rigid group. That way everything just stays together. But what we want to do is align the top to this. And then we're going to move the whole thing up 3 millimeters. And then the fun part is figuring out how to center. And this is something I actually meant to look up before the stream. I know there's a way to center something between, well, there's definitely a way to center between objects. I don't know it. So I was thinking we might be able to figure it out because I really don't know how to do it. And we may need to Google this. I like to think I'm gonna. Let's see here. Yeah. Well, I think half the people stopped caring after I messed up the stream. Yeah, not seeing any quick Google results there. All right. Well, I do know a cheap and cheesy way, which we're gonna do. So let's do this. Well, you can align to sketches. I wonder though, is the center of this? Let's turn this cage off. I wonder if the center of this is the hub. The hub has got to be in the middle. I'm gonna assume that it is. Sorry about that. So anyway, what we can do is go here, create sketch. Yeah, capture position, pull in that as well. We're gonna do a line right down the middle. And, and create a point right in the middle of that. Finish our sketch. Turn this back on. Align this component, that point, on that dot. Then we need to make it parallel. Let's see, can we do, so if I align that to that face, it's gonna, let's undo that. Here's another awesome thing about Fusion is sometimes like that point oh, come on. Now what's it doing? Let's get out of here. So the problem I'm having right now is this point in the center is not perpendicular. Great. Well, we could try. Let's try this. There's got to be a center point here. So let's put that point on the line. Come on. Nope. Not that either. The challenge of Fusion. Let's do that point on the line. Is it actually, why is it doing this? All right, that's obviously not working. Let's just make this bigger then. So what are let's measure these holes. Let's do this. From there to there is 100 and, which one? 105. Cool. So let's go back to the sketch. Let's edit that sketch. Let's make that a construction line, make a center rectangle. It is 105 by 105. We're gonna double click on that, hit X to make it. construction. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to align that with that. Hey, that looks way better. Okay, turn off that sketch. Should have done that from the get-go. It's hurting my head too, dude. Seriously. All right, so now we have it centered where we want it to be. We're going to then realign this with the top, and then move it back up 3 millimeters. Which at this point, I can't believe I actually remembered that's the distance we need. Capture position, that's what we want. Holy cow. There, that's where we want our exhaust fan. We want it blowing up and out. Keep crap from falling into it. So now we just got to figure out how we want to do a top for this. And I have no idea. No idea at all. Let's see, who's actually still here? There's 5 people watching. Let's see. I honestly have no idea what I'm going to do for the top of this thing to hold this cage in. I haven't decided if I want to make a full actual cage for it or just make something that's more like a skeleton that comes off of these points to hold it in place. I think you're still here, Ryan, too. Yeah, you definitely are. But that's where we're at with it. It's getting close. But I think I may call it there. Yeah, because I'm hungry. It's dinner time. I'm a couple hours before everyone else. I appreciate everybody coming by, watching me fumble around with the camera while I showed you the present I got from Mr. Shane. Big thanks to Shane for that. Super cool. It's gonna be a really cool project. Can't wait to start diving into that. Hopefully the couple little tips, tricks, tutorials, whatever you want to call them, I did at the beginning were helpful. Honestly, the little deal for making raised holes printable is one I use all the time. I don't ever make anything now in Fusion with a bolt hole that doesn't have that in there. You'll probably see me again in another 2 months. Hopefully not. Hopefully sooner than that. Life has been kind of crazy. Yeah, we had a ridiculous ice storm a few weeks ago that shut me down for a while because there was 2 inches of ice overnight everywhere in my area. We had no power for like 4 days. And I work for the power company. It was the worst power outage we've had in 40 years. And then Houston, they got hit a week later. And of course, for work, I work with some folks down in Houston for one of my products. So that was stressful. So it's been a hectic couple weeks and a stressful couple weeks. So I think things are getting back to normal though. I'm glad to have gotten on a stream. I hadn't, 3 weeks since my last stream. I wasn't happy about that. Appreciate you guys coming by, checking this out. Again, massive thanks to Shane for sending me that thing. Even though it is a current big pile of junk, we're going to fix it. We're going to make it better. Thanks for Ryan for sticking around and keeping people talking and asking questions, and everyone else. Let's see who all we had on the stream. We had Jim was here, Boiler Rim. I hadn't seen you on the stream before. I appreciate you coming by. Good questions, and I appreciate the input. Hopefully you subscribe. Anybody else who might actually be watching, if somebody actually watches this in the future, please subscribe. You're not going to get your notifications just hammered with stuff because I don't do a whole lot of videos and streams all the time, so I'm not going to bog down your notifications with a whole bunch of crap coming from my channel. But I appreciate anybody coming by and watching the videos, giving them a like. Feel like contributing a little bit to that new camera fund right there. I'd love to get anything that goes from that fund is definitely going to go to a new camera for the stream. It's just for this or for projects, anything like that. So again, thanks guys. Really appreciate you guys coming by. Take it easy. hopefully the next stream won't be 3 weeks from now. Have a good one.